Greetings, I am Michelle Bachelet. My mission in life is to achieve gender equality and end income disparity, a work in progress as I begin my second term as Chile's president. My mission is incomplete as gender equality is far from being attained and income disparity continues to widen. In a world full of conflict, we need new perspectives. As half the world's population are women, jointly involving men and women in decision-making processes produces more balanced and better results. Women bring unique perspectives, including unique insights and experience with issues and needs faced by women, children, and the needy. And there are many, many needs. My vision and mission come not only from being a woman, but seeking, attaining, serving, and meeting the challenges women face in higher political offices. You see, I served as Chile's Minister of Health. I was the first women Minister of Defense and President of the Chilean Republic. In between terms as President, I served the UN as champion for women's rights. Confidence in my abilities came from my father, who no matter how well I did, encouraged me to do better. He assured me that I was empowered to achieve whatever I set my mind to. In addition, early in my political life, I faced my trial by fire. Let me explain. I was born into a military family. My father was an officer in the Chilean Air Force, where he attained a general's rank. We moved from base to base. We lived in the U.S. for 2 years. His last assignment cost him his life. You see, in the 1970s, Chilean elected a Marxist president, Salvador Allende, who put my father in charge of food distribution. Allende's policies frightened the U.S. into thinking Chile would become another Cuba. So the CIA saw to it that Allende overthrown by the military. My father protested the overthrow, and he was arrested, tortured, and died in prison. My mother and I were also arrested and tortured. We were charged with the involvement in a plot to assassinate 4 generals in the military dictatorship which overthrew Allende. We were exiled and lived in East Germany for years, finally returning to Chile as the dictatorship ended. I studied medicine in East Germany and graduated as a pediatrician. To that point, my path to national leadership looked bleak. After I returned, I resumed my political activities and was soon thrust into high political offices. Life experiences develop my insights, forge my vision, and are my foundation for leadership. You see, as we moved around Chile, I saw that and came into contact with many needy Chileans. I saw tremendous income inequality, deep-seated gender biases, a community full of machismo, women's role being relegated to be a housewife. In the U.S., I observed the rapidly changing role of women. That was exciting and an eye-opener. From the beginning of my educational career, I excelled in academics, becoming a medical doctor. I developed expertise in military strategy by participation in the Inter-American Defense College, where I graduated first in my class. All my life I've been close to politics as a means by which to advance my mission's objectives. As a young woman, began with membership by the Young Socialists in Chile, and upon my return from exile by offering my services to improve health care for the poor and needy. My insights into politics overall came with the realization that coalition building is key to achieving authority and power, that moreover to rule, one must have and use collaborative and problem-solving processes with skills and techniques to match. Why coalitions in Chile? The reason is simple. After Allende we had a military coup, followed by years of dictatorship, a brutal one. Many people died or disappeared or tortured, a tragic history. After we emerged from dictatorship, Chilean were determined to return to and guarantee a multi-party democracy. As a guarantee to democracy, political parties formed coalitions sworn to democracy. The military forswore involvement in politics. To win elections and then rule coalitions are the rule, a necessity. And while at the UN, where I was a women's rights champion, the situation was even more complex. A huge number of nation states with differing interests, issues, and needs. Finding common ground required building coalitions. Another leadership insight is traceable to my background as a doctor. Before prescribing treatment or administering a procedure, doctors must conduct a thorough analysis based on what is observed and learned. Doctors must gather information from their patient, who is often the best source of information. I digest their inputs and integrate them with my own knowledge and judgments to prescribe treatment. In development of policies, I go to the public, gathering data through panels of experts who help to organize and digest information and to develop recommendations. Another set of insights comes from my studies in military strategy and experience as a Minister of Defense. As a military strategist, you learn to master dealing with uncertainty, the fog of war. Well, similarly, in politics, there are often unknowns, uncertainties, surprises. However, you have to be adaptive, decisive, and push as hard as possible to gain a desired outcome. Another insight I follow is to lead non-confrontationally. Instead, to ask questions, to be convinced, and to have the confidence in my decisions, as I always do what I am convinced is right. Take, for example, my time as Minister of Defense. I could have extracted revenge for treatment my father received during the dictatorship. Instead, I chose reconciliation, achieving a commitment of withdrawal by the military from politics and integration of women into the military. For women, at times it's hard for men to comprehend and accept women as leaders. Like an outsider, some still expect deference by gender. A few even demand it. Women leaders, just like men, have to be not just competent, but strong, patient, and persistent. So as you can see, my mission, gender equality, came about as a result of who I am, what I experienced, what I saw about life in Chile, now what I've seen globally, what I've accomplished, and have been unable to accomplish so far in the leadership positions. My leadership style relies on building coalitions, gathering information from those impacted by an issue, thorough analysis, policy formation, followed by decisive action, pushing very hard until success is achieved. One issue in too many parts of the world is women's and children's safety. Worldwide, women are subjected to harassment, differing only by matters of degree, ranging from verbal innuendo to rape and even death. Where there is conflict, women and children suffer the most, make easy targets, and when conflicts end, peace agreements hardly ever address reparations and lack provisions to prevent further violence against women and children. One of the additional reasons women are left out is few, if any, women participate in post-conflict negotiations or in authoring peace agreements. The reason? Well, women have not risen to positions of authority. Many lack a foundational basis, education, and experience. Denying women education cripples their ability to achieve participation in even the lowest echelons of influence and decision-making. Society loses women's perspective on issues related to women's and children's suffering and the fostering wounds left by a conflict. So denying women participation, even at the lowest rung of decision-making, results in inadequate decisions and makes women's perspective for rising in the ranks of decision-makers impossible because no experience. Sadly, this was validated during my presidency. You see, when I became president, I had a goal of gender parity amongst my appointees. I found it difficult to find women qualified to take key positions, especially when it came to experience. And by the end of my term, I did not have parity. So my vision is to solve that issue for future generations, is to guarantee free and universal education, to build a solid foundation, especially in science and technology. Concomitantly, we need today's leaders who have the courage and support to break down gender barriers. Let me make one more point about women's safety. Like in any other office Like in any other area, women have to be able to participate in all professions where safety is involved. This includes the police, not just enforcement, but also in investigation and administration. My mission, seeking gender equality, has taken me to the highest positions in Chile, as well as the United Nations. As I have stated, my mission is a work in progress, which will be tested again in my second term as president. Some will hold me under stricter scrutiny when making mistakes, using it as proof that women are unfit to be in positions of authority and in making decisions. I am ready and have the experience to tackle challenges in pursuit of my mission. New issues and needs are rising as human populations and interdependence amongst nations, cultures, communities, and families continue to grow. Projects grow in complexity as technology accelerates. The world is becoming increasingly interdependent, and coalitions, collaborations, and problem solving are critical to solving conflict.